Okay guys, just off to work after a big effort getting out that video last night. And have a look at that pretty sky on the way to work. Wow, that's so pretty. G'day, Aussie Bonsai Bloke, here you go. Today we got a true Aussie native, the bottle brush. Good old bloody bottle brush. So anyway, we got the bottle brush here. We're going to work on it today, and being a native, we're going to do it in the Australian Mallee style. So this is what I've coined, the Mallee style, and we're going to do that. I just got a nice coffee after work. Now, in case you guys wondering there's something wrong with me drinking all this coffee in my videos, I'll tell you what it is. I'm getting too bloody fat. I had my old pork belly going, getting up, you know, a few digits over 100 kilo. And the last couple of weeks I've been trying to cut back and not eat so much junk food either. It's not really helping me yet, but one day I'll get there. So that's why I've been drinking less beer, less port. The port was the worst thing of the lot. Someone's trying to call me. I'll have to just delete that phone call, I think. Okay, so noticed one problem with putting it on a different video mode. It now accepts calls while I'm doing a video. Before it just ignored them. Ended up being my Taya girl just doing a video call on her messenger just to say hello. She's inside the house, only about 10 meters away, but she couldn't be bothered coming out to say hello. So she did a call instead. Anyway, I got more weeds in here than I know what to do with. So this is a Mallee style bottle brush, and I just do a quick bit of weeding. You know, one thing about doing all these videos is getting me through all this weeding as well. Or, you know, I've worked on 10, so that's 10 less that have got weeds now. I'm actually starting to look at, they're starting to look a little bit tidier. Maybe I should do a video on spraying weeds around my yard. It might get me motivated to spray them. You probably already noticed there's a lot of shed noise today because it's really windy outside. There's not much I can do about that. And if I have to put up with the noise, so do you. I shouldn't have said that, that's pretty mean of me. But yeah, very windy outside and there's nothing I can do. Everything's shaking around, banging. Just the wind just comes flying through here. Maybe one day when those trees finally grow up big and tall, it won't be nowhere near as bad. But until then, I'm just going to have to suck it up, and you guys are going to have a bit of wind noise. But anyway, I've even got weeds growing in the bark up here. All of those growing in the bark. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. So let's get into styling it. I don't know if you remember my video from last time about styling it. I've got to try to remember which way was the front too. I believe that was the back, but it could have been the front. No, I believe that's the back. That's the front. Yeah, something like that. So what I'm going to do is, like before, put it into different layers, which will be the Mallee style. And so, you know, Mallee style, I sort of liken it like it's three trees glued together. So you got one tree with an apex here, and then you glue another tree on top with a taller apex and nothing underneath, and then you glue a third tree on top of that with nothing underneath, and then you put them all together and you've got a Mallee style tree. It's sort of weird how they all grow with these parachute type pads that go up in the air like that with a lot of branches come down. So anyway, we've got to pick our levels, and obviously as this thing matures and gets more and more branching, the levels, how many levels I pick, it's probably going to change. Now if you remember last time, this was actually my new method, was to just go like this, grab a bunch and cut. So we're going to keep trying this method, at least for now, and if it doesn't work we can go back to, I'm going to get rid of that low one. If it doesn't work we can then go back to trying to do it a more civilized way, but for now we're going to do it this way. So we'll just grab everything at that height. Okay, so we've got another lot. There's one here. Another one there. Now we grab this lot. It's a bit yellow, that lot, because that was sitting underneath the rest of the canopy, and it's not getting a lot of sun. So that's on a different level, you can see. Then we got this one down here. Bear with me too, because I don't think it's going to take very long once I get into it. I sort of have to retrain myself every time I do it, because it's not a style that I normally do. It's just this tree. So we, you know, trim that, and then this one can become a low one down here. So you can already see we've got a few different levels. Then I think we had, so this is the main level. You'd almost call it the apex of the second tree, and I'm pretty sure this is what I leveled most stuff off at. Not quite sure, you know, how much I should grab at once, because if I grab too much it'll give it more of a rounded look rather than the flat tops of a parachute. Parachutes I guess are rounded to a certain extent, but not 100%. Okay, so that's all going to be there. So just going to grab a clump, chop into it hard, grab another clump at that level, or that I want to cut back to that level, cut it pretty hard, go through and just sort of trim it up after. Okay, and then we got another level here. You can see this one's higher. Yeah, this is, you know, obviously to begin with you just choose your levels that you want to create a level at, where you got your most foliage, and then you just go for it, just trim it back. I might even just take this back a little bit more here. I'll probably show you. You can go back and look at when I did this, and it was more or less developed and easier to see where I was cutting. Now it's getting a little bit harder to see where I was cutting. But if you don't want to go back and look at that, I'm also going to do another video next. And that video will show, that video is going to be on another melaleuca, but a finer leafed melaleuca. And you'll be able to see that right from the start, because I haven't worked on that one yet, and I haven't tried to do it like this sort of style, this weird style. So here's the low ones as well. So I'm calling this me Aussie Bonsai Bloke Mallee style, because I've never seen anyone else just grab handfuls of foliage like that and cut it to a certain length. Might have hit that one a bit hard. Get rid of this little one at the front. No. No, it might join in with the rest of that. It'd be good if it does, because then it'd give an extra branch. Yeah, I'll just tuck it in there. Yeah, she's right. So we got those few different levels. Tuck this one in there, just sort of mix them in there if they're hanging out. Another one here which is going to be the same level as over here. So let's cut that. That'll be the sort of top apex of one of the other trees. And the more and more you do this, I'm guessing the more ramification you get. But like I say, I'm only learning the style myself, but it seems like a pretty good easy way of doing it. Grab a big clump and cut it. If there's other little dangly stuff getting in the way, we can just chop that off. Another little clump we'll do a separate little clump down low here. Very yellow leaves on that one. Not getting a lot of sun, so it might end up dying off. And if it does naturally, that's fine. If the tree decides it doesn't want to put up with me hacking it back like I am, you know, that's okay. We'll just have to redesign it or go without that pad. Try a different height. Might also clean up some of the bottoms of these once I've defined them a bit more. The reason I haven't cleaned up the stems with all these leaves is because I was waiting for enough shoots to come out to make it believable, and if I cleaned them all off too early, maybe it wouldn't backbud, I'm not sure. But these bottle brush backbud really well, grow really well, really vigorous. Great trees to work on. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have a lower one here. Got to be careful not to cut my hands for all of this. All of this, mate. Okay, there's a little daggly one here that can go. This one here is fairly weak, but it's okay. Got this one in full sun, so there's not much else I can do. It's just got so much foliage on it that it's trying to shade out. The bottom branches. I guess I can cut back the top even harder. Even harder, mate. Cut it back even harder. But we'll see how it works out. Okay, so we're getting there. Sorry, this might be boring to some people, but we are getting there. Like I say, I don't know, I think that's the back, but it doesn't really matter. You just sort of work your way through. Now we're going for a higher, sort of like a higher pad, I think. Some side shoots here that can go. That dangly, in the middle of nowhere, no good to me. So they can go. So I hope you can see what I'm trying to achieve here. Just different heights in where all the foliage stops, I guess. If you have a look at a mallee in the wild, it just seems to have almost like it reaches a certain height, puts out all its foliage, and then one little bit shoots ahead, and then you get a second height which puts out more foliage at a different height. Seems to be a pretty common thing on them. Normally done with a proper mallee. This is not what I consider a proper mallee, a bottle brush. They were actually in a callistemon family, but now I'm pretty sure they're in the melaleuca family. Just a little discrepancy between scientists or whatever, I guess. Couldn't work out what they wanted to call it. Who knows? Maybe their DNA profile in a tree's changed or something, I don't know. Who knows what makes them change all their names all the time. Or their, is it taxonomy? I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll be quiet while I'm still ahead. So we're getting there. Cut this one back a bit harder. Now I haven't worked out yet whether it's good to constantly cut this back or whether it's good to let it grow like I just did and then go back. Because if I constantly cut it back, it would be a lot easier to keep canopy heights and to get light in. But at the same time, I don't want to, I guess, take too much bigger away from the tree by constantly cutting it back. Because I know some trees don't like to constantly be cut back. But a tree with so many shoots on, I hope you agree, this is such a simple way if it works, because like you just give it a cut, done. Grab this one, cut it on top, done. Could you imagine if I went through and cut every individual branch on this tree? How long it would take? Which is fine, if that's what had to be done I would do it, but I don't know, if I find this quicker way seems to be working, then I'm going to do that too, you know. I'm going to do the easiest way I can find. It'll be interesting too whether these bottom branches end up dying off or not, but we'll see. Give it a trim. Okay. Now we got some weird yellow spots around the place. Like it wants to get rid of those branches, but we'll see whether it keeps them. Alright, we're starting to get there. Alright, the main apex, we're already at the top of the tree. Like I say, can you imagine if I went through and trimmed every individual branch? Look at that. You know? Seems to be working, doesn't it? I'll tell you what I might do today. I might go through and clean out a lot of these leaves just to really get some more, you know, defined divisions in each apex where it stops and starts. Pretty sure that's the top of the tree there. Yeah, even on camera, like normally stuff looks crap on camera. Looks pretty shitty on camera, but you go on camera now, it's even on camera it's starting to look pretty good. I'll just give it a quick spin. Yeah, she's actually starting to look pretty good all round. Nice. Well, I'm going to put you on Hyperlapse while I just clean up the final bits. All I'm going to be doing is grabbing areas like this with, that's an apex up here. I'm just going to be grabbing the leaves off the trunk to make it less hairy on the trunks so that you can start to see more branching and then more divisions, more twigginess, more divisions, more branching, and probably do it right up to sort of part way up these sort of I guess parachute pads, I guess you could call them parachute pad. Now I've got well over 3 on each of these. It's not normally how I would do things, but I'm going to see what happens here just for an experiment. I could maybe thin them out a bit, but I don't want to go crazy thinning them out. But all of them seem to have a lot more than 2, and it could be that I'll get a big knuckle here. Maybe have to remove it later on. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see, because if I was to remove all of these to only 2, you wouldn't have too much left. So for now, that's how I'm going to do it. Clean off the branches like that so you can see them, and maybe clean it off up into the top. Almost like a broom style on top of at the top of the tree. So each one of these like doing a little broom style. So we'll see how that works out. Alright, let's do that on Hyperlapse, and then I'll catch you at the end. I'm not going to go too crazy with it, but I will just clean it up just a little bit, and you guys do not want to be live for that, believe me. Alright guys, welcome back. As you can see, I've cleaned a lot of leaves out. Just plucked them. Nothing, you know, no real skill has gone into this tree. It's just a matter of applying the right technique, I think. Just grabbing bunches of foliage and doing it in the right spot, and then cleaning out some other areas. It's a bit like, you know, a hairdresser gives someone a haircut, I suppose. Just do it all in the right spot to get the right style. Now, one thing I will say, while I was mucking around here, I was thinking, you know, I had a bit of time to think, pulling all those leaves, and I thought, you know, another big attribute to being a mallee is you can see right through the whole tree, from start to finish. This one you almost can. I'll just drag the light behind it. Tell me what you think. So that's the light behind it. So you can see the whole structure. So you imagine that outside, you can pretty well see through the whole thing. So that's pretty good. There is one section, however, that I thought, well, it's just a bit thick over this side. So I looked at it and I sort of just pulled these branches down and out the way, and I thought, what would it look like if that was gone? And that other level up there is a dead line. You can see the structure underneath then. Thought, what if I do that? I'll just pull some more leaves if I'm going to do that. Thought, you know what? I will. I'll give it a cut. So let's two big branches. Let's give them a cut and see how we go. So that gone. It's really opened up to see that now. And now you look at this, and that's a pretty weak looking bit of foliage anyway, like a lime green. So, well, can that go? Because you've got this pad here in the front. Now I thought, you know what, I reckon it bloody can. So why not? Let's cut it back. See how she looks. A little one there, well, pretty weak looking anyway. Now you can really start to see into that second lot of foliage there. And then with a third lot sort of up here, fourth, even a fifth, you know, it's almost like 5 trees joined together. Very hard to mimic a full-size tree in nature when you really don't have a lot to play with compared to a full-size tree. But anyway, so that's that. That's pretty cool, pretty exciting to come up with a new style. Aussie Mallee style. I mean, it's not a new style as such, but a new method to get to that sort of style pretty quickly without a lot of effort. Like I say, there's a reasonable amount of branches in here, but there's 3 or 4 from any one location. It'll be interesting in time as to how much they swell up and start to look funny. If they do, I'll try and get in there and cut it back before it gets too bad, so I don't have to lose the whole lot. But if it, you know, if it does get a nice transition, it's not too bad. I'll just keep it like it is for now, because it's starting to look pretty cool like that. Even some of these branches that I've put onto it are now getting some good bark, so that's pretty cool. Hasn't really taken them very long to start getting that cool bark. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I really would like to get this into a pot one day, but not for now. It's in this nursery container. And just to think, I was nearly going to throw this tree away when I first bought it. It was just a very, very average tree wobbling in its pot, and I bought it for the pot, not for the tree. And I thought I'll just give it a chance. I'll put it into, I think, a foam or a wooden box, and I'll just let it grow there. And then one day I thought, you know what, I'm going to start trying to do the Mallee style. So this is what's turned out. Just doing a bit of weeding. Okay, so that's pretty well it for that tree. I know I've said that a few times, but I think we're done. There's a few areas I could still clean up a bit more, but you know what? You can see through the tree. And I'll give you a spin. I'll give you, you know what I'll do? I'll give you a spin on the way out with the light behind it, and then a spin without. So let's see how we go. No worries. Cheers for watching, Aussie Bonsai Bloke. Please like, share, subscribe. Hope you enjoy the channel. And I'll catch you next time. Cheers.